Welcome to Wellness Rebranded. We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You're ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
This is the Wellness Rebranded podcast. We're the healing trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle and get ready to laugh, learn, and grow. And let's start rebranding your wellness journey. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Rebranded. I'm Tara, and I'm here with Elizabeth and Maria. And Maria has an episode for us today talking about 4 simple tips to boost our mental and emotional health. And Maria, please share with us.
Yes. So there are things that we already know that I think we have covered and you guys have covered in previous episodes, like nourishing foods is something that, believe it or not, can help with your emotional health. Active movement can help with your emotional health.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, taking sleep seriously and getting enough sleep is very helpful.
My favorite thing.
Yes. Do you sleep enough, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But I still want more.
I want more.
I don't sleep enough.
I'm a good sleeper most of the time.
Some days I do, some days I don't.
I never had problems sleeping my entire life until I'm getting up in age, closer to perimenopause.
We're doing an episode on that.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, I'm on the edge of my seat for some tips.
So these 4 tips are practices that not only I try to include in my own life because I really believe they can be helpful, but I've also hear from my clients who practice them on how helpful they can be.
Is
right?
number 1 dancing?
Actually, it's not.
It should be.
It should be. Not everybody likes to dance, but I guess that would be in the category of active movement.
Yes.
For me, active movement is dancing, so that helps me, right? But
unless you dance like me, and then it's just questionable movement.
I still haven't seen that. But anything, like most things, right? Is not a one-time deal. These 4 tips that we're going to share, the more you do them, the easier they're going to become. And the easier they become, the more the benefits you're going to see of practicing them, how they can really benefit or boost your emotional health, right? So you're ready for the reveal?
Yes.
Number 1, lay it
on
us.
Number 1, make it a practice to think about the things in your life that you are thankful for.
I love this because every now and then I get a little overwhelmed with work and I'm so busy and I don't even have time to pee during the day and it's like stressful for me. And I remember years ago being like, oh my gosh, I hope I get more clients. I just want to be busier. And I have to kind of remind myself like, hey girl, you made it. You asked for this, you achieved this, and now you need to be grateful for it while still taking time to make the necessary changes that I need to make.
I was just having a conversation about a gratitude practice the other day with a client, and we were talking about different forms of self-care, and she was saying, you know, gratitude just never has really resonated with me. I've tried it and it feels so forced and it feels so fake. And so I was sharing with her how I do it and what I've noticed from doing it. And the thing that was a big aha moment for her that maybe someone else out there might find helpful is she's always done it. I was saying that I try to make it as specific as possible. So, for example, instead of just saying I'm grateful for my kids or my family, which of course we all probably are, I try to say I'm really grateful that I had that 3-minute connection with my daughter over breakfast this morning when we chatted about X. And I try to make it more specific. And for her, it was like a light bulb went off and she said, oh my gosh, I've always just kept it kind of surface level. I think you're right that would make it feels so much more genuine.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, sometimes we think bigger, but we can go even back to basics. You can be grateful for the clothes, having clothes to wear. You can be grateful for having warm water to take a shower with.
Yep.
You can be grateful for a sunset. That's my new thing now, just to notice a sunset. And I'm grateful that my eyes can enjoy these right now.
Yes.
Simple things. And I'm not saying spend your whole day being grateful, but make it a practice.
I mean, you can.
You can if you want, right?
I actually feel like this comes natural to me because, being raised in a church where we have a hymn that's literally about counting your blessings. And the whole thing is like, when you're not feeling it, count your blessings one by one. So this is just like a practice that has been engraved in me since I can remember.
It's a tool that I teach people in the realm of body image healing as well, of just, if anyone out there struggles with body image or just would like to improve theirs or strengthen it, trying to include one or two things in your gratitude list each day that your body enabled you to do. So actually, when you just said, my eyes let me see the beautiful sunset, or, for me, a lot of times I love gardening. So I'm grateful that I have, legs and hands that let me get out there and dig in the dirt and plant my flowers or my vegetables. And it just helped. That alone is not going to heal anyone's body image, but it's a part of a practice that can be helpful to start to shift your attention from form to function.
Yes, I do that with my clients a lot too. If we ever get down on ourselves about something physical, think about how many miles your legs have carried you in your life, or the things your hands have done. How many meals have you made, or people's hands have you held? Like, your body's done really amazing things, but sometimes we just forget about it because we're stressed about how it looks in a certain pair of jeans.
And it sounds simple, but it's so important and powerful because our brains actually are used to, the negative sometimes. It has like a built-in negative bias. So that's why most people are really good at noticing what's not going well in your life. So this is a practice to kind of counteract and combat that, to bring, what is going well? What are you thankful for? What are things that are happening that are good?
The brain has a built-in negative bias?
Because of survival.
Oh,
so
that's fascinating.
That's why we're so good. Actually, related to the episode we had before with Giselle, how she was talking, that fight or flight. Together with that, we have that sometimes, that negative bias, like, okay, this didn't go well, I have to be better than this, or, noticing these things. And that's why usually, and I see it with my clients as well, we are really good at noticing, when we do something wrong, all the problems, we get stuck in problems. So this is a way to really train your brain to also notice what's going well, which I can assure you there are things that you can be grateful for.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of noticing them. And over time, your brain is going to master that skill and then focus naturally on the good.
So do you think people need to write it down to get the most benefit, or does it not matter, even just pausing to notice?
I mean, some people will tell you to keep the gratitude journal and stuff like that. I don't write it down personally. I just make it a practice. And when I wake up, it's like, I'm thankful I had this comfortable bed. Actually, it's more when I go to bed. It's like, oh, my bed feels so good.
I do the
I've worked
exact
hard.
same thing.
Yeah?
I get into bed every night and I snuggle in and I go,
Yes.
And Marcus makes fun of me every night because I'm like, oh, I love our bed. And he's just like, you're ridiculous.
Yes. And when I shower, for example, not only many times I shower and I'm thinking about all the things in my to-do list in my brain, but other times I just feel the water and I enjoy it, and I'm thankful that I can take that shower in silence when I can, that that I can feel clean and enjoy how I feel afterwards, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for people around me. I'm thankful for having a car that takes me places. I'm thankful for clean water. And again, I'm not inviting that is not like I'm thankful all the time, like I'm this thankful being that goes around. I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for that. No, but bring it as much as you can into your daily
I try to make an effort to, when I'm feeling like a pity party for myself, I try to be like, okay, yes, this situation sucks, but also I'm super grateful that I have this, maybe even relating to that situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when you have a newborn and you're up all night, it's like, oh, I want to sleep so bad, but also look how cute.
Yeah.
You know, kind of along those lines.
Okay, so before we go to tip number 2, just to, again, I'm not suggesting that you ignore the bad things in your life, but that you just notice and focus a little more on what's going well. So, dear listener, what are things in your life right now that you are thankful for?
Such a good question.
Yep.
Tip number 2.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Tip number 2. Ready?
Yep.
When you're doing something, can you ask yourself, can I find some joy in this? And I'll explain.
That's a great tip.
We see messages on social media and stuff. I see like, find joy. And you're like, what does that mean? Is that like a vacation? Because for me, joy would be like a whole week by myself, by the beach, with food brought to me. I don't know, like that's
Yes.
joyful.
Me too.
But
Agreed.
how real, right? I don't know. So sometimes we don't need to add new activities to get more pleasure, but actually find pleasure on the activities that you're already doing.
Yeah.
What about the dishes?
Ugh.
Well, I'm not saying find pleasure in all the activities that you're doing. Just, for example, the shower, going back to the shower. Sometimes you get a shower and you just do it in, out. It's like one more task to do.
Yeah.
But if you intentionally take a few minutes to find pleasure on that, okay, why not? The driving, maybe you have to drive back and forth places. Okay, maybe listening to this podcast is a way to find pleasure on your drive instead of just paying attention to
the road.
to the traffic or the road. I don't know.
We're
right?
here
So-
bringing joy.
Yes. So you can start having a regular routine with activities that make you feel happy, you know, that maybe help you maintain your good mental health. Okay, going back to you, so I explain it to you again. Intuitive eating.
Yes.
We were talking about that last episode with Giselle as well. You can just have, many times I have my meals watching Netflix or in a rush in the car. When I'm at the
yes.
emergency room, I'm like 1 bite, 2 bites, I go see the next patient. Then I come back, 3 bites.
Yes.
No, now I make sure that even if it's just 10 minutes and I, sniff, how do you say it? Like swallow the food, like, what's the expression? Just like, whatever.
Inhale it.
Inhale it. Even if you inhale,
the food.
sniff the food.
I'm going to call it that from now
It's
on.
good to smell it too. It's a sensory experience. We call that mindful eating.
Okay.
That's something that I worked on too, actually, Maria, because I used
Sniffing
to just inhale my food, like, whenever I had a chance. And now, like, particularly for dinner, I try to sit down and I'm not watching TV and I'm just focused on my food and my son. You know, Marcus usually has the TV on next to us and he's watching from the couch. But, like, me and him, we try to have, like, this is our meal and we're focused on it.
And you know what? It's not just that it's more enjoyable that way, but it will actually promote better digestion. Again, that mind-body connection and the parasympathetic nervous system. And also it will make it easier for you to tune into your hunger and your fullness and your
Yes.
digestion.
That's why I started doing it, because I
Yeah.
noticed I would, like, eat my food that I put on my plate and then I'd be, like, uncomfortably full, like that fullness episode we did.
Yes.
And it occurred to me that if I just eat, like, a little bit slower and a little bit more mindfully, then I wouldn't do that to myself, you know?
So it's basically like, bringing joy to whatever you're doing already or some of the things that you're doing already.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
So my husband always says that he tries to reframe everything as I get to instead of I have to, right? Like I have to is kind of like a drag. I get to sort of like maybe there's like some level of privilege in that I like have a kitchen and I can do the dishes. I'm focused on the dishes today. So I'm curious
Do you need help?
yes. Can you send a dishwasher to
Yes,
my house,
right.
please? Someone to load it and unload it and clean out the sink.
I'm on board for that, too.
in your mind, is that a helpful practice, or is that sort of like Pollyannish, like sweeping?
I mean, again, who's going to tell you what's helpful and not helpful if it's not yourself? I mean, I think it's a good start. I think it could be helpful if it is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
true.
But some people might say, well, there are things that I really have to do.
Yeah.
And of course, I do too. And maybe there are some things that are just not joyful, again, but try to bring a balance, because it is easy to get into that status of everything I do, I have to do, and I'm not enjoying it, and I'm so drained, and I'm exhausted, and I'm stressed out, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
So, and then we wait for that joy to come whenever we book that vacation or whenever we have that get together 2 weeks from now. But no, you can actually bring little things. Like I have to
Simple
take
joys.
my daughter to singing class once a week, and I wait in the car because it's far from home. So I don't want to do that. That's a waste of my time. So I bring things that are going to make that wait for me a little more joyful. That could be the Starbucks drink, that could be the book, that could be that phone call that I need to make, a pleasure one, not like a work one. Well, work ones can be pleasure too, but you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
So, and then support myself in a way that I can make already some parts of my routine a little more pleasurable.
Love it.
Deal or no deal?
Deal.
Okay. Number 3, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Watch your self-talk.
Yes.
Do you talk to yourself with the same respect, compassion, and patience that you talk to a loved one?
Yes, this is
So
something that I work on
watch
so
how you
frequently.
talk
Yes.
to yourself.
People are
So
brutal
important.
to themselves.
We all are,
Yeah.
for some reason that I cannot explain.
So common to say things to yourself that you would never say
Never.
to anyone else.
Yes.
Right.
And I see it
Right.
a lot in the realm of food and body.
I do too.
Yeah, so in fact, today I put a post on my Instagram about, how to talk nicely or nicer to ourselves. And somebody sent me a DM and she said, it's hard. And I replied with a voice note and I said, absolutely it is. It is for me too. I'm not inviting, again, that you talk to yourself nicely all day, all the time. I'm inviting that we counteract and we balance that negative self-talk with those comments that is going to boost our emotions, right? And there's gonna, so it's a practice like everything. At the beginning, it's gonna feel kind of weird to go, think to yourself, Maria, you did a good job. Maria, you are funny. Maria, you're spectacular. Maria, you're fantastic. Maria, you're smart. Okay.
Well, also, may I interject something there that I know when I'm working with people on this, sometimes people don't even actually realize that they have a negative loop playing in their minds all the time.
Point.
And so sometimes the very first step is, hey, let's just pay attention and notice how you're talking to yourself before even getting to reframe it. And can you just maybe even stop it in the moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you catch yourself saying things to yourself like, wow, I didn't do well on that, or hey, I could do much better, or what are other examples? That was so stupid of me. Or those kind of things like, oh, I look terrible today. And sometimes we say it without much intention, really. It's like an expression. But now that I have a teenager and she's like eavesdrop on me all the time. It's like she's there. I try to watch what I say, out loud, because I've caught myself saying things like, oh my God, I look terrible today. And maybe
I do the
not.
same
Maybe
thing
say-
with my 3-year-old. Like, I don't want him to hear me talking bad about myself because I don't want him to start thinking that's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Right.
important. We're modeling it.
So, and maybe you did something stupid. I get it. I do stupid things frequently, but maybe the thought is, okay, I'm always learning.
Yeah.
Oh, there are things that I can still learn. Hey, it didn't go today as I thought it could go, but it's next time I'll be more prepared for whatever, So just bring that compassion and that patience to yourself that you give to others.
A
That's all.
word we use a lot in the intuitive eating journey is yet.
Yes.
I haven't quite mastered finding my comfortable fullness point yet. I'm working on it.
Yes, correct. I love that.
We do that in fitness a lot too.
All right, and tip number 4, connect with other people. but not just any people, supportive people. So if you think of, and this is with the self-talk as well, if you think of a hot air balloon, your self-talk shouldn't be the sandbags that bring you down and keep you down all the time.
Love that visual.
But it should
I do
be,
too.
or you call it the flames or the
Yeah,
fire.
The balloon, yeah.
That brings you up. So try for your self-talk to be as much of those flames as possible that bring you up. Same with the people you interact with. There are people in my life that bring me down, and there are people in my life that bring me up.
I think it's interesting that sometimes if you are having positive self-talk and you just have that vibe of confidence about you, it can make other people uncomfortable who don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's kind of telling about, where other people are in their journeys if they're not comfortable with you being confident.
Interesting, because I also see the other side of it, which is other people feeling empowered and inspired by your positive self-talk and confidence.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, this person can do it. I can do it too. And it's okay.
Yes.
Right?
It
So,
sets
I
the
guess it could
example,
go
really.
both ways. Yeah. And again, we're not self-confident or talking nicely to ourselves 100% of the time, but once again, it's a practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
That will bring benefits to you. So lastly, yes, on this fourth tip, just try your best to surround yourself with people you can talk to, people who encourage you to do better, people who provide support, that are understanding, that love you for who you are, because this is going to help you build a sense of belonging and self-worth. It helps with that, gives you an opportunity to share your positive experiences. I have friends that if you share positive experiences, like, how do you eat that? Because usually is sharing the problems and sharing the bad things that are happening. We don't need to get into those cycles of just getting together with each other to share our miseries.
Yeah, that reminds me, I have a post that I share on Instagram frequently, and something that I talk to clients about a lot is like, it's really common for women to bond by bashing their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, look, my
Yeah.
weight, my this body part, that body part, and like
Yes.
no one leaves that conversation feeling good.
Right.
Yes.
But why is that a tendency? I'm not sure, but
maybe
what?
because of that negative bias that comes with our brain. I don't know. And because maybe everybody can relate.
Yes,
because we
true.
all have problems.
Yeah.
We all can see the bad things that are going on in our life. So let's connect with that. But you don't have to.
Yeah,
Right?
great reminder.
And one comment that I get sometimes is like, well, but how do I find these supportive people if I don't have them?
I was going to ask you that when you were
Yes.
talking, in case someone was out there thinking that.
Okay, so I remember, and this is a personal story, I was going through a really hard time in my life several years ago. And my mom, who doesn't live here in the U.S., came to visit. Thankfully, she's been like my support every time I'm going through rough times. She came and she said, Maria, you have to butter your own bread, like your own piece of bread, like your own toast.
Yep.
You have to butter your own toast. Because I didn't have much friends. I'm an immigrant. I don't know much people. And she was like repeating and repeating and repeating that for weeks. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, I'm sure there has to be like a group online that is called Hispanic Women in the U.S., specifically in this state, who like to dance and who knows whatever.
And who want to eat toast.
Yes. So I went to, back then, I'm sure it still exists, meetup.com or something like that. And I found a group of Hispanic moms in the state I was in. To this day, that was actually exactly 13 years ago, I've got the nicest friends you can get.
I love the internet for this
Oh,
reason.
my goodness.
You can find any group, no matter how weird they might be, they exist
Yeah.
and they will take you.
And that took some courage because
Definitely.
Yeah.
I had to get in my car, go to this meetup that they had in somebody's house. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get there and like, hi, I'm the new member. Like, but I did. I'm like, worst case scenario, I don't meet anybody. So, it wasn't worthwhile. But I did. And nowadays I have really good friends there, ladies that are that kind that support you, that are happy to see you succeed, that, you know, so
Yep.
that's an example. The other thing is maybe you do have people in your life right now that you want that relationship, and you can redesign the relationship with them. I have a really good friend, and I'm sure she's going to listen to this episode, and I love you.
Yeah.
She is a good friend for years, but the relationship started turning, just like you said, of sharing what's not going well. And it started become really draining for both of us because we were focusing on that. So we had a nice conversation more than once and said, we need to redesign this and make it so we don't get tired of each other, and we leave our conversations with each other feeling a little better than how we came in.
I feel
and
like
not the
this
other
needs
way
to be an
around.
entire episode where you
Okay.
teach people how to do that.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to this episode on Wellness Rebranded. We love having you here, so come back soon.
Guys, if you love this episode, we would really appreciate it if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast. It helps us get out the good word to more people. So if you would do that, we would be grateful.
If you would like to connect with us offline, we would love to connect with you. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram.
And you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Tara DeLeon Fitness. I'd love to hear from you.
And you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist. And I would love to connect with you too.
Have a great day.